Thanks for tuning in. This is Michael Milano with MNM Bay Area, and today I'm joined by Mr. Scott Fong of Siff Investments. Scott and I have been working together for a couple years. Came in highly recommended by 1031 Exchange, my preferred 1031 exchanger. And when she introduced me to Scott, she said he's the only person that does what he does. So rather than me explain it, here's Scott Fong. Scott, thanks for joining me today, man.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for having me. My name is Scott Fong. My company is Siff Real Estate Investment Services. Kind of unique, as Michael said. I think in the last 18, 19 years since I started the company, I'm the only one who does what I do. And try to say it as succinctly as I can, but I am a fee-based advisor. I'm not a broker, I'm not a realtor, for anyone who owns rental property. Rental properties ranging from single family homes that are rentals, apartment buildings, land, mixed use, commercial. My role really is, we live in the Bay Area, which is incredibly expensive. And it costs a lot. We hear it all the time, Michael, that my gosh, this home costs so much, this 3-unit costs so much. Well, for those people fortunate enough to have rental properties, the plus is the appreciation has been so great over the last 5, 10, 20 years that it provides this opportunity that all this equity in these properties is stuck in the Bay Area, and it's not earning a great income for its value. So my role is simply to evaluate those properties, give objective advice on how well they're performing and what their net income is. So for example, if it's a 3-unit property here in San Francisco and it's worth 2.3 million, I'll say, wow, you're only getting a 2.5 to 3% return net income. That same $2.5 million in another market, Michael, Sacramento, Portland, another product type, it could be a exchange fund, could earn approximately double that return. So that investor, unbeknownst to many investors, could have doubled their income every single year. And so that's what I do. I consult on the project, from helping them identify the properties underperforming to creating opportunities, different investments on the other side through 1031 exchanges, creating more wealth. And I work with the top brokers like yourself on helping them sell those properties and find replacement properties in the process.
Yeah, and it's kind of reminding me, like, how did I come to meet you in the first place? Yeah. I was talking to the exchanger, and I just felt like the 1031 component to real estate is really an underserved commodity. Like, as far as information goes, it's really hard to get really good information, and even harder to get good advice. Having somebody be able to look at what you have and how well it performs versus what else could be done, and also the litany of ways to do it, was kind of where I was looking for. And once she heard me say that, she's like, you got to talk to Scott. And ever since, it's like everybody that has utilized you, as far as people that I've referred to, have been so excited. And what I love about the way you work is you just are kind of like me, like, give people the best information that you can give them so they can make the best decision for themselves.
And to your point, kind of, it's really about options. And really, when I look at creating a roadmap or solutions for my clients, it's no fault of any realtor on the ground, but you're only as good as the area that you know and the product type, right? So if you cover the North Bay and Marin County, you're probably not going to be great at knowing the market in Portland. And you're probably not going to be knowing what a triple net lease is in Chicago, Illinois. Is that going to be a great performing property? So it's simply a function of how real estate exists today by individual I guess, realtors on the ground that specialize in really niche markets. And so since I'm not a realtor, and I'd probably make a terrible one, I can see things from the top and say, wow, San Francisco, the Bay Area is so expensive, but what are some of the characteristics of any rental property here. And it's that it has incredible appreciation, but very little cash flow.
Marin is the oldest per capita county in the whole state of California. A lot of people inherit homes. A lot of people have rentals.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways that people have hold title here in Marin. Talk about one of the most recent examples where someone had a rental, a house that had highly appreciated. It had been a rental forever, and when they decided to sell it, what you did, like, you just did this in San Rafael, so I just want you to tell how that all shook out, because that was a great.
Yeah, I actually have another really good example here. Where I'm working with the daughter. The owner is the home is in the 80s. She was raised in that home in Ross, and I think it was purchased for $600,000. So she approached me in 2017, I believe, or 18, and said, well, my father is renting out this home. I grew up in this home, but we need more income because he's going into a long-term care facility. And so, you look at the value of that home at $2.5 million, and it was renting, I think, for $6,500. Pretty nice rent. But when you ran the numbers, Michael, it really came down to it. I think it worked out to be like a 2.2% return on the value. The 2.2% is the net income relative to the value. So I go, okay. I spoke to the daughter and I said, gosh, you could easily double this income. So as he went unfortunately, into a long-term care facility, and it costs $10,000, $15,000 a month, we increased that income by selling that home, that rental home in Ross, for about, I think it was 2.5, 2.6 million. And then we bought, it was a 10-unit property up in Portland. Not many 80-year-olds are comfortable investing out of this market, but since the daughter was the primary driver of this, she said, hey, I'm young enough, I can help manage this through the property manager. And so we maxed out the income in a B plus area of Portland. We went from $6,500 income for that $2.5 million to about $14,300. So more than double the income. And the amazing thing, Michael, is this is not every single, but there's so many homes and rental properties that have been owned for a long time that, as you said, this 1031 exchange, the ability to sell a rental property and exchange the equity into another like-kind rental property it's not unknown, but it's this untapped market where owners should really look at their options, because this is many of the homes, as you said, up in Marin or rental properties have been owned for a long time. Maybe they won't get this doubling the income in this example, but they certainly will increase their income if they've owned that home or rental property for 10 plus years, easily 30 to 40%.
How does a 1031 exchange work, and what are the options that somebody may have?
Sure. So a 1031 exchange is simple. It's a 1031 exchange IRS code for being able to sell a rental property and reinvesting the gain into another like-kind property anywhere in the United States. And that like-kind property doesn't have to, so for instance, if you own a rental home, you don't have to rebuy another rental home. When they say like-kind is simply that it's for investment or business use. So you could go from a single family home in San Francisco or Marin County worth $2 million and buy 6 homes in Texas, right? Or you can go from a single family home, just for example here, and buy an apartment building in Portland, Oregon, 7, 6, 8 units, like I was saying in the past example. And then you can go from an apartment building to a single family, apartment building to commercial, as long as it's for investment purposes on both sides. The options to put your money into, I mentioned a few of them, of course, which we're familiar with: single family homes, multi-unit rental properties, apartment buildings, but there's also funds, just like mutual funds, they're called, but for 1031 exchanges, called Delaware Statutory Trust Funds, DSTs. And for short, and those are not quite as liquid as real property. You need to hold them a little bit longer duration, but you don't have to manage your property at all or manage a property manager. There's also triple net properties, which are another term for commercial, single tenant, double tenant, a Walgreens or Taco Bell or Big O Tires might be your tenant. And they will take care of all the expenses, the taxes and insurance, and the triple net stands for all the expenses are paid for by the tenant. You get the check, you and the owner. So you might go from a apartment building that might be a lot of work and you're just tired of managing property here in the Bay Area to a triple net or to a DST. And then there's something which you and I know about, but we can talk another time, a deferred sales trust, because that goes into real specifics of a kind of complex situation that a 1031 exchange candidate might put their money into also.
Right. So there's the DST, the Delaware Statutory
Trust Fund, yeah.
And the DST, the Deferred
Sales Trust.
Sales Trust. So there's two DSTs.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why they named them the same acronym.
I wish they didn't.
Yeah, right.
And
then the commercial properties, which you know, all these types of properties have their own risk level. Obviously now with the virus, from commercial to residential, but you know, there's pros and cons of all of them, and we can help educate them on those pros and cons, of course.
So Scott, you're based out of San Francisco, right?
Yep.
And you serve the whole Bay Area.
The whole Bay Area, for clients who have rental properties anywhere in the Bay Area, I can help serve them, you know, easily to analyze how well they're doing and what they should look at. They can probably analyze their own properties, but a lot of it is just knowing your options, right? So, but I serve the Bay Area for existing property owners to analyze, and then we can reinvest into different markets accordingly. You know, Portland, Oregon is one big market. The triple net and the DST funds are more professionally managed by third-party advisors.
Mm-hmm. And so you're a fee-based.
Fee-based, yeah.
Consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about how that works. Somebody wants your expertise, wants your help. Yeah. Walk me through this, the beginning to the end.
Sure. We don't do much hourly, like a CPA or an attorney, Michael, but we're flat fee. So people ask me, is there one size that fits all? What's your fee? Well, it generally ranges anywhere from $8,500 to about $15,000. It's a flat fee one time. And that would be from helping them sell their existing relinquished property to finding replacement properties through great brokers like yourself. In general, I would not work with clients unless we're going to increase their net income at least 25 to 30% at a minimum. And so my fee is usually paid off within the first 3-4 months, and they continue to have that. It's based upon the hours. Most of my time, to be honest, is spent on the replacement side. The existing property, that's your expertise, and you know, for selling a property here in the Bay Area. But finding the replacement property and really getting to know the client, it's not just, hey, because in the real estate world, people say, hey, this is a high return. Is that really the way that is that the best investment just because it has the highest return? So I think the consumer in real estate is misled by return. That would be like a financial planner in the equities world saying, hey, great, you're 65 years old. I think you should buy all Tesla and Google stock. You'd probably fire them. So in our profession, I think it's really to educate that so many of the clients here should know, investors, what are their options? Should they own an appreciating investment? Like a single family home is a good example, appreciates very well, but gives off very low cash flow. Or should they buy something that gives them more income? And what's the risk and reward of both of those? So yeah, so that fee varies, and it depends on where they are in the process. I have clients who call me that are already sold their existing property and only have 20 days left to find property, which that's panic mode, to those who they're pre-planning 1 year before they're actually doing the exchange, and they want me to help them in the whole process. So it just depends.
Yeah.
And I work with their CPAs, I work with their financial advisors. We'll help them out on the lending side and source that out to different lenders. We don't act as any one professional. We kind of give that leverage and buying power that is usually not there for the individual investor in real estate on all aspects of the process.
And that's why you're the only one that does what you do.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, thanks so much for your time. And you know, I really enjoy working with you, and to continue to work with you.
Likewise.
It's always a pleasure. And I think you're a secret that shouldn't be kept. People that know Scott and can utilize his expertise in their planning the exit and their next move, that's out there to be taken advantage of. And this is the guy that you talk to. How do people get in touch with you? You have a website?
Yeah, it's siffinvestment.com. That's S as in Scott, IFF, Frank investment with no S.com. My email is sfong@siffinvestment.com, or you can reach me at area code 415-601-1051. And like Michael, we're very easygoing. I'd love for anyone, if you just have any question on your existing rental or just or on the exchange process itself, just give me a call, email. I'm easy. My fees will never be engaged with anyone until there's a value add that we know we can increase your net income, or you want to do that. So that's it. But thanks for having me, Michael.
All right, Scott, thank you. And this is Michael Milano again with MNM Bay Area. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to next time. See ya.